Welcome to Hong Kong Brief. The content of the briefing includes PBOC chief pledges to keep growth of money supply in check. China Evergrande's offshore winding up case adjourned yet again. Hong Kong activist seeks asylum in Canada in self-imposed exile. Why easing of Shenzhen housing market policies may lift sentiment but is limited. China Evergrande seeks adjournment in Hong Kong liquidation court hearing. PBOC chief pledges to keep growth of money supply in check. Bloomberg. China's central bank, the People's Bank of China, PBOC, has pledged to control the growth of money supply and support key sectors such as technology and advanced manufacturing. The PBOC aims to enhance the quality of credit and avoid a rapid buildup of debt. It plans to optimize the efficiency of existing loans and step up support for strategic sectors such as tech, manufacturing, and private firms. The central bank is expected to utilize more structural policy tools to guide funds into targeted areas. The PBOC recently issued guidance for banks to cap the amount of new loans they issue and may provide cheap funding to major property and infrastructure-related projects. China Evergrande's offshore winding up case adjourned yet again. Nikkei Asia. A Hong Kong court has postponed a winding up case against property developer China Evergrande Group, after lawyers for the company argued that no creditors were actively seeking its liquidation. This is the sixth adjournment since a winding up petition was filed against Evergrande in June 2022. Evergrande's financial situation has continued to deteriorate, with its core subsidiary, Hengda Real Estate Group, having unpaid debts of 301.36 billion Chinese yuan, $42.44 billion, plus overdue commercial bills of 205.93 billion Chinese yuan. Evergrande was once the largest developer in China but has faced difficulties amid a government crackdown on the overleveraged property industry. Hong Kong activist seeks asylum in Canada in self-imposed exile. Bloomberg. Hong Kong activist Agnes Chow has announced that she has left Hong Kong for Canada and plans to effectively go into self-imposed exile. Chow, a former leader of Hong Kong's pro-democracy movement, cited concerns for her safety and well-being as reasons for not returning to the city. She was arrested in 2020 for allegedly colluding with foreign forces and was released on bail. Chow's decision to leave Hong Kong has been denounced by the city's authorities, who have called on her to return. Why easing of Shenzhen housing market policies may lift sentiment but is limited. South China Morning Post. Homebuyers in Shenzhen have shown interest in upgrading their homes after the local government eased some policy measures, agents said, but expectations of lower incomes amid slower economic growth, which means people are still hesitant about big-ticket purchases, continue to be a key hurdle. Just over a week ago, local authorities in the southern Chinese technology hub announced a cut in down payments to 40% for second homes from as much as 80%, and changed the definition of luxury homes to allow more buyers to enjoy such properties. China Evergrande seeks adjournment in Hong Kong liquidation court hearing. Reuters. China Evergrande Group, the heavily indebted property developer, has requested an adjournment of a Hong Kong court hearing for a liquidation petition. The lawyer for Evergrande argued that no creditors were actively seeking the company's winding up. The liquidation hearing resumed on Monday as uncertainty loomed over whether Evergrande would be able to submit a concrete debt restructuring proposal as ordered by the court. If Evergrande were to be liquidated, it would put additional pressure on China's already struggling property sector, which makes up a quarter of the country's economy. Capital calls, Evergrande reprieve. Reuters breaking views. A Hong Kong court has adjourned a hearing regarding the liquidation of Chinese developer Evergrande, giving the company more time to restructure its $20 billion of offshore debt. The decision also defers a test of the power of Hong Kong court rulings over mainland companies. Evergrande, which is the world's most indebted property developer, has assured the court it will refine a proposal to restructure its $300 billion of total liabilities in the next 5 weeks. The company's chair, Hui Ka-yen, has been detained since September on suspicion of unspecified crimes, and the firm is currently barred from issuing new bonds. HSBC Life draws customers from 46 overseas markets as well as China. South China Morning Post. HSBC Life has reported policy sales to customers from 46 jurisdictions in the first 9 months of this year. The company sold 29.9 billion Hong Kong dollars, $3.8 billion, worth of new policies in that period, or a fifth of the industry aggregate. Among its overseas clients, about 70% were travelers from mainland China, with customers from 46 different markets contributing the remaining 30%. The top 6 sources of customers are Canada, Australia, Malaysia, the Philippines, Singapore, and Taiwan. Analyst who called Chinese bank turmoil says trusts are next. Bloomberg. China's $2.9 trillion trust industry could be at risk due to the distressed state of many firms, according to former Bridgewater Associates and UBS analyst Jason Bedford. Of the 55 trust companies that issued financial statements for 2022, 14 reported non-performing and special mention assets that exceeded 1/3 of their total assets. Trusts, which are less regulated than banks, account for nearly 10% of total loans in China. Hong Kong pro-democracy activist Agnes Chow relocates to Canada, citing safety concerns. The Globe and Mail. Hong Kong activist Agnes Chow has revealed that she will not be returning to Hong Kong to meet her bail conditions and is now living in Canada. Chow, who was jailed for her role in pro-democracy protests, said she is pursuing a master's degree in Toronto and cited concerns about the political situation, safety, and her health as reasons for not returning. She said she has felt a sense of freedom since arriving in Canada but still grapples with anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, and panic attacks. Chow has no regrets about her political actions and believes she was right to be involved in the pro-democracy movement. Think of Hong Kong when you vote, Taiwan president says. Japan Times. Taiwan President Tsai Ing-wen has urged voters to consider the situation in Hong Kong when casting their ballots in the upcoming presidential and parliamentary elections. Tsai warned that peace must be supported by a commitment to strengthen Taiwan's defense capabilities. China, which considers Taiwan as its own territory, has increased military pressure on the island, including conducting war games near Taiwan. Both China and Taiwan's main opposition party, the Kuomintang, KMT, have framed the election as a choice between war and peace. China has criticized Taiwan's ruling Democratic Progressive Party, DPP, and its presidential candidate, Vice President Lai Ching-te, as dangerous separatists. 3 steps China must take to remain attractive to investors. South China Morning Post. China needs to take pragmatic measures to attract international investors and repair its reputation as an attractive investment destination, according to Brian Wong, assistant professor in philosophy at the University of Hong Kong. In an op-ed for the South China Morning Post, Wong suggests that Beijing should focus less on security issues and clarify data regulations, as well as offering clear statements on its regulatory campaigns in the digital economy. Wong also calls for more judicial autonomy and international accreditation for Hong Kong's courts. Chinese EVs, spy cars, and America's next red line. Bloomberg. The U.S. is expected to impose non-tariff barriers through restrictions on tax subsidies for electric vehicles, EVs, to counter China's success in the EV and battery market. The code for foreign entity of concern is China. The curbs would aim to reduce Chinese input in EV batteries, however, it is more difficult to avoid in the short term. The U.S. government may attempt to prevent money from bolstering China's economy, but a loophole remains open for Chinese companies to buy targeted components from another nation and sell final vehicles or key parts to the U.S., with few restrictions. While BYD has stated that the U.S. is not part of its expansion plans, other Chinese automakers are already present in the country. The U.S. government is likely to take further action to counter China's presence. U.S. lawmakers have previously raised concerns that Chinese companies running self-driving tests in the U.S. collect sensitive information about U.S. citizens' daily lives and infrastructure. Mumbai leads world in number of IPOs as new China listings fall. Nikkei Asia. Mumbai is set to become the global leader in new stock market listings this year. The number of IPOs at the National Stock Exchange and the Bombay Stock Exchange, both in Mumbai, is expected to rise 45% YoY to 209, according to EY. IPOs are expected to fall 33% to 126 in Shenzhen, 36% to 99 in Shanghai, and 19% to 61 in Hong Kong. Indian exchanges still lag the mainland Chinese bourses in IPO proceeds, but their new listings are on course to raise more money this year than those of Hong Kong, reflecting the strength of India's economy, its government's push for new infrastructure, and the burgeoning appetite of its investors for equities, according to analysts. The Hong Kong market, where Chinese companies account for 80% of the benchmark index, has been hit by rising Sino-American tensions, concerns about the mainland economy, and Chinese restrictions on outward investment. With Christmas just around the corner, these crustaceans are in high demand. ABC. Orders for yabbies, a type of shellfish, are increasing as people look for affordable seafood alternatives for Christmas lunch. Derek Nank, a fourth-generation farmer from Western Australia, cannot keep up with the demand and is calling for more farmers to breed yabbies. Yabbies are smaller than marron and crayfish, and are more affordable because they are smaller in size. In addition to the domestic market, yabbies are also ordered online from overseas buyers, with Singapore, Hong Kong, Italy, and Egypt being major markets. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.